Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me this afternoon is Kelly Kloepping from the Verona Area School District. She's your public information officer. And Kelly, this is your first time on Talking Fitchburg.
It is.
I don't understand. We coordinate with you all the time.
Yes, there are a million things going on in the Verona Area School District, and you guys have been wonderful in helping us with so many visuals that we try to share. All those great things happening. So yeah, we appreciate you having us today.
Well, and you guys do, you and your you have a team maybe, but it's really you. I know you have a lot going on.
Well, that's because they're doing so many great things there. So I try to spotlight it.
That's what I was going to say. You've done a great job of getting the information out. It makes it easier for us to share it. So
great, thank you.
We appreciate that. And we have you here today to talk about the Attendance Advisory Committee and upcoming meetings that you have regarding the boundaries of the school district in a specific way. And I'm not describing that totally totally accurate. That's why you're here to help us. So first off, why don't you walk us through what are we talking about here that this advisory committee had?
Well, I think to begin, what you're talking about is probably the least favorable topic that boards of education in school districts want to address. It's tough. It's tough work. When you're redrawing boundaries, you're never going to find an option or a final recommendation that is going to make everybody happy. And so going into this, it's going to be a big challenge. So I think what we really focused on as a district, and I think most districts do this, you really want to get the input of your families and the community and the staff. You really want to get a feel to cover the demographics of who's affected by this. So, essentially the Attendance Area Advisory Committee, it's called the AAAC, essentially was built really to pull, both genders, all the races, the elementary, the middle school, the high school families. We wanted to get staff in there. We've got obviously family members, community members, a broad array of folks who could really all work together to basically do what we needed to do.
And you're making it sound like, oh, this is just some easy work. You're yeah, this just happened. But I realize this takes a lot. The committee met many times, put a lot of hours into this. And
yes.
And what will they be presenting as they move forward here?
Sure, great question. Really, the first thing that happened was that the board set a charge for the committee. And in all honesty, I can pick up the sheet and kind of read the basics.
Absolutely.
The charge of the committee is to follow the school district strategic plan, follow the established board criteria, the Board of Education criteria. We'll talk about that in a second. Obviously, look at historical enrollment trends, so data. Look at the data that we have, what's in place currently. Look at future enrollment. We know that's growing. We know Verona and Fitchburg are growing.
Mm-hmm.
And then check our building capacity, our current building capacity. And then basically utilizing all of that information, we need to find up to three recommendations for options of how we could adjust boundaries. So that's the charge that was set to the committee. The second thing the Board of Education did was really, and I'm not going to read through all of them, but this is very common for districts. They're going to put together a list of what they just call selection criteria. So honestly, it's almost a type of score sheet, that this AAAC committee can use as they're spending 9 meetings and 25 hours going through all this data on enrollment and future growth and, just all those things. So really what the board said is, hey guys, when you come to us with your up to 3 options, make sure that you're addressing student diversity. That was their number one piece on this selection criteria. Maximize diversity when possible. In other words, we want all the schools to have diversity.
Mm-hmm.
The second one was really, keep communities together if you can. Obviously, you want to promote transportation efficiency, but the more that you can keep communities together. We don't want somebody in one house and somebody next door going to a totally different side of town. That's tough. If you can keep neighbors together, keep the kids together in the same school. And neighborhood unity, fiscal efficiency, obviously cost efficiency. A huge one's transportation efficiency. You don't want the buses retracking, driving all over, utilizing extra gas and time, making the kids sit on the bus for an hour. You certainly don't want that. So again, there's just all these pieces of criteria that the board put in place. And, that's sort of the rules that the committee is using to move forward.
Yeah, that's, again, extraordinary work, very tough. And basically, you guys have they've got recommendations now. Is that's kind of
Yep.
that moves on to the board. But what are we looking at? And we're not going to go through all the options today.
Continue watching, please. We're just going to talk about them lightly.
Yes, you'll give us a quick overview, but we want you to make sure you make it to the public meetings, which we'll get to here in just a bit. But talk about this next step here as we move into the meetings.
So after all this work, and the committee, assembled 9 times for 25 hours so far, they still have an additional meeting coming. But basically, I think they know they could give up to 3 options to the board, recommend up to 3 options. It still may only end up being 2. And that's the reason why, we'll talk about these community meetings coming up. We want the community to be able, and really the families more all, to be able to offer some input to the committee to say, hey, we agree with these 2, not sure about this one. Or, hey, we like all 3. Let's let the board, consider all of them. We'll see what happens. So there's still another meeting that this committee will assemble to kind of finalize and say, okay, we held these 2 community meetings. Here's what we learned. So really, there were 9 total options that were reviewed during this process, and they looked very similar, to this document where it's really showing a lot of the board criteria: keeping neighborhoods together, fiscal efficiency, transportation efficiency, all those pieces. Really kind of saying to the committee, okay, here's one option, here's where the option's good, here's where the option's not so good. And so 9 times of that, and a lot of ranking, a lot of end of the committee meetings ranking. Okay, of these 3 that we presented tonight, what was your favorite? It was a little more intricate than that, but really that helped them narrow down what the top 3 choices were that maybe disrupted students the least. That would make most sense and cover the board criteria. So we've got 3 options that we're going to present, and they all kind of address these topics that the board had to cover, and we're going to have them on large display at these meetings, if you want to talk about the meetings now.
Exactly, yeah. You have 2 meetings. We've been promoting these coming up here. And nice, too, you'll have, you're going to hit different languages, too, which I think is very important here. But let's start off with Tuesday, April 9th.
Yes. So, again, 2 meetings, April 9th and the 16th. They're pretty similar. It's just that on the 9th, we would like to be able to bring in our Spanish-speaking families. Obviously, they can come to the other meeting as well, but we wanted to make it clear to the public that we will have a little bit of extra interpretation service offered at this meeting where everything is going to be in English and Spanish. On the 16th, we will have interpreters there again, so any family can attend either of them. But yes, on the 9th, we will be at the Catholic Multicultural Center, which is really just off Anton Drive, next to Chalet Ski and Patio.
I was going to say,
we want to make that clear because if you do a search on your phone, this same name comes up in the east side of Madison, I think. So we want to make it clear. It's in our school district area, and that's the location. And again, childcare is available, which is great. Bring your kids. We'll just steal you for an hour and a half. But kids can have some fun in the back area in a separate room. And again, we're going to present the 3 options. We're going to have them much enlarged on a wall so they really can kind of compare the 3 next to each other. They can take some notes. We want them to leave their notes behind so we can see the likes and dislikes.
And all of that can be.
Yep.
That's good. So, both meetings you're welcome to attend. And the other, April 16th, is at the Performing Arts Center at the Verona Area High School, both at 6 o'clock p.m.
Correct.
And looking forward to getting the information out. We're actually going to tape both of these.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
Well, when we were talking, I was like, we should do both. So make sure we do get both language pieces out there to help you. And then after these meetings are complete, what will be that next step?
Well, I think we do want to make sure, again, I'm glad you brought that up. They will be, obviously, you're going to be filming both of them. We'll have links on our website for those of you that can't be there to see it. We want you to be able to, watch it. We also will have a very specific spot on our website, and it's not quite yet. We're not quite ready because we want to make sure these pieces are all, fine-tuned and ready. A spot where families can go to download them ahead of time. That way you've got some time to look at it a few days before if you want. You don't have to. And then obviously we'll be Facebook Living it as well. So we want people, if they want to watch it, at least the presentation part in the beginning, they can watch that on Facebook Live to get a little bit of a feel for what's happening on there. Again, once these meetings are done, the AAAC meeting is going to do their what we think is probably the final meeting where they'll bring together the likes and don't likes of what they got from all the people attending the meetings. and really sit down and kind of analyze and think, okay, are these three the ones we want to go with, or maybe just two of them completely stood out. One quick thing to add too is they will be ranked. People there will be able to rank this board criteria, which I think will also help them figure out, all right, it looks like these 3 or 4 items were the highest ranked criteria. So you know what? It looks like maybe these 2 options might be the better choices. We don't know, but the committee will get back together, decide if the 2 or 3 or whatever they want to take to the board, and then of course, final steps are the board will address this later this spring and choose their option.
So really, the board, the committee has done a great job of getting it done here, but still taking some input from the public here, and and then
and ultimately the board is the final. So they will, and who knows, they may even want to take it back out to the community for another meeting. There's talk of that. So there may be some additional tweaks that might happen, from the board. They may say, thank you, committee, great 3 recommendations. We're questioning this one. Can we look into this, and this? And it might go back to the community again. We just aren't sure. But it's a long process. But we got to give it due process. So.
Exactly, and I think that's the best piece here is you want everybody's input, so it's open. You can get that input in and make those selections. So I would keep you here forever and keep asking questions, but we'll save those for the meetings coming up. Thank you so much for taking the time.
We hope to see everybody there.
I hope to see you back here sooner than later.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. We'll continue to make sure to update you as those meetings get closer, and of course you'll be able to catch those here on Fact TV, and then through the Verona Area School website moving forward. All right, we can take a quick break. You are watching Talking Fitchburg.